Right, let's call meeting to order. Approval of last month's minutes.
Move a motion to approve last meeting's minutes.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mike.
Okay, great, thank you. No specific updates, just for provide updates as we go along the regular agenda today. So we'll move on to E2 Finance, and make payment of bills. Within your packet, we had the AGHL services rendered through June 30th of 2026, and the Williams McCarthy services rendered through June 24th of 2026. Any questions on either of those two items? If none, then we can move on to the approval of accounts payable invoices. This month's total is $1,491,783.48. Unless there's any questions on any specific items listed, motion to approve.
Move the motion to approve the accounts payable invoices. And what was the amount? I'm sorry.
$1,491,703.48.
So I'll move the motion to approve the accounts payable invoices for $1,491,703.48. Okay.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great, thank you. Moving on then to item B, approval of unaudited financial statements for May of 2026. Now, packet outlining Rockford summary and the statement included for review. Were there any particular questions you may have with that? Xavier, any things to note?
Nothing substantial, just basic monthly expenses and revenue, so we're on track and under budget, so.
So
I move a motion to approve the unedited financial statements for May 2026.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
great, thank you. Move on to item C, pension portfolio review through June 30th and July 17th of 2026, and the pension investment statement the month ending June 30th of 2026. Also, information included in your packet. I know Jeff, depending on was here last month. This month is included that memo summarizing the performance. Were there any questions on those items? If none, we'll keep moving along then. E3, the operations maintenance facilities report. Memo included the packet along with the data statistics for the month of June. Dan, you want to walk us through the memo and highlights of the summary?
Yeah, you can see, and I did want to put a little caveat on this before. We've had some issues with our plugger, so we may have to adjust these numbers next month. So between a plugger issue and the day of the Ironman triathlon, we had like all kinds of crazy detours and stuff. So our numbers may just need tweaked next month. So, but you can see June to June, we were up 11%. And we're up 3.7% for the fiscal year. Pair transit, June was a busy month compared to June of last year, we're up 12.5%. And we're 0.5% lower than we were fiscal year to date. We did start our service changes on July 5th. It's gone fairly smoothly. Very few a couple of tweaks, but as far as at least at my level, I haven't received any calls complaints from drivers. So new hire training. We have 7 fixed route drivers and 1 paratransit driver that started July 7th. We just had a training meeting today, and our training team report they're a really good group, and we're going to be able to move these people through pretty quickly and get them to work. So my apologies, we don't have the actual maintenance stats. Kind of busy time of year, closing out the end of the fiscal year and reporting all that. So we'll get that caught up for the next meeting. But overall, vehicle availability on both sides has been very good. We were a little concerned about this heat, but we ended up okay. So facilities, lots and lots of bus stop sign work with the new routes, new service changes in October. So these guys have been spending most of their time doing that. Facility expansion, phase 2 is moving right along. If you guys been by, but they're doing the brickwork on Winnebago Street. They started taking the siding off the east side of the building. They're going to start bricking that here the next couple of weeks. So things are moving right along. Our fueling, we're fueling outside right now at our repair center building on a temporary tank, because our current fueling is, they removed a bunch of concrete to start laying some pipes underneath the ground and do some fuel pump work that's required by the state fire marshal, so. Mike, do you want to touch on the changes that IDAS made for the change orders? As far as the thresholds.
Let's check everyone. Just for a minute.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I think it was increased from 100,000 up to 250.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So I think just real quickly on that is just simply, IDAS gone to a more advanced risk assessments that they're conducting now on an annual basis to kind of assess your financial capacity, your ability to manage grants and the funds that they provide. They we submit our information in a year now, and then we run a 3-year assessment for everybody. And then based on what score they give you, it makes a determination on whether they change their standard procurement thresholds or grant approval thresholds for each agency statewide. And so as a result of our assessment, then our risk was classified as medium, not high. High is kind of the standard baseline, which everybody was at before. And so most agencies, larger agencies in the state that have more of a sizable staff to manage grants came in at a medium thing. So as a result, the thresholds now that we have to have either pre-bid and or pre-award concurrence from the state have been increased. So what that does, it allows us a little bit more flexibility in moving projects through and getting changes that may come up during the project approved at lower levels, or through our internal processes approved at lower levels, allow the contractor to continue to move the project along. And I should say documentation requirements that were there, regardless of what your risk assessment was, continue to be the same. It's just you don't have to get IDOT's approval at these lower thresholds now. So just like I said, speeds up project delivery, I think, and really helps in turning things around a lot quicker, keeps things going, because it's been an issue, ongoing issue through a lot of property trust state fair projects, and waiting for staff to review things at these very low levels that really start slowing down projects. So it's an improvement in process. So that's some good news.
And I have the changes. It was pre-bid concurrence threshold went from 100,000 to 250,000. And our pre-award threshold went from 10,000 to 50,000.
Yeah.
So just makes it so we don't have to take as much back to them and get that approval, so it doesn't slow down the process a little bit.
And that $10,000 threshold is pretty small.
Yeah.
Threshold when it comes to construction projects.
It doesn't get much anymore.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was a big problem. So it's got a right sizing also due to inflationary changes over the last number of years since those were first established. One other step back on a couple items real quick here. Just one of the things Dan was mentioning about the fuel lane construction. One thing that I will note, and appreciate the community's patience on this, the buses, because of that fuel lane thing, that's where our bus wash is going in, bus wash replacement. So our bus wash is not operable and hasn't been for several weeks, and won't be for several more weeks until we get through that. So things are a little not as clean as we would appreciate or want them to be, that we'll get back to. And obviously hand washing and pressure washing vehicles is a labor intensive process, and so we're not getting to them as quickly as we would otherwise like to. But folks' patience is appreciated, and we'll get back to having them in the condition that we would want them here in a month or so, I think, when we're able to get the installation of bus washing. So just note that in case you see something that you're like, when's the last time that got washed? Well, it's been a couple of weeks. So we're actually asking, hoping for good rainy weather, right? to help us in that process. So I just want to mention that to you. The other thing is, as Dan mentioned on the ridership statistic, just as a note, these are the end of June is the end of the fiscal year, right? So this is our total, and as he notes, because of some of those tweaks that we've had as a result of the end of the year and the data not being quite finalized yet. This is a draft final number, but I think it is, if anything, it doesn't represent the total count, and probably some arrives there that we're going back and running the updates on the data that we'll see an increase in there, but at least what I would say is very positive news to the end of the year, at least 3.7% higher than we did the prior year on fixed route. The paratransit statistics are the end of year statistics. Those are the numbers. We'll just put a caveat in the fixed route one is the draft final. We'll come back to the final next month again with the preventive maintenance reports. So and also obviously the end of the year financial report that we'll have is the summary of June next month. It's being finalized now, and so wrapping up submitting that data because we have to submit all of our financial reports to the state by the end of this month. So Shelly and her staff are going to finalize things. Dan, anything else?
Nothing else, I'm here, any questions? Thank you.
If nothing else, then we'll keep moving along then to E4 and the claims history report for June 2026, also included in the packet. End of the year on a really fiscal year on a really positive note. So I'm assuming you want to touch on that at all.
Just that our overall claims were about 8% under from last year and just a tiny bit over from the year prior. So I think it's a good trend.
So positive stage. There's no questions. We'll keep moving along. E5 marketing report is in your packet. Orlando, you push conflict things.
Yep, couple of things, with this community along with, had some things wrong with our passengers, so, passed out hand fans last week, which was extremely hot, so, set up a table at downtown transfer center and set out, those RTE branded fans, which passengers really, really liked and really appreciated. I've talked to some passengers that had medical issues that said that, overheating can lead to some things. So having that fan on that day for that week was really important and good for them. So that's listed in there along with the RPS event. They have a summer event with students. So they reached out a couple months ago to see if they can, take a small tour. We're not doing tours right now because of construction. So I was able to family, part of the STEM facility and take a picture outside of the new building, but that's about as close as I feel comfortable with bringing them. We don't need anybody to children getting injured, but I foresee an influx of requested tours coming once we finish the facility. So we'll have more events like that. And then lastly, just highlighting, like Dan mentioned, the route changes and how we updated our information to passengers and got everything successfully by the time that our change went in place.
Any questions? If not, we'll keep moving along. Nothing on the grant side this month. We'll be seeing some other activity next month. That portion. Moving on then to E7 safety and training. The safety and training report for June 2026 included in packet for review. I will note that the statistics, as you look through the performance data, for most categories, it came positive below our goals that we had set for the prior year, aside from the safety event thresholds that we reported on. The last item listed in the performance report is system reliability. The numbers that you see there are the May numbers and not the end of the fiscal year numbers at this point. We'll provide you an end of the year report next month because those numbers are tied to the maintenance report that Dan had mentioned that's still being finalized with the June end of year data. So we got some finals for fiscal year wrap up reporting that we'll do with next month's board report on all of these things that you can see what we landed. Any questions? If not, we'll get on to other business. Item A, we're floor scrubber. Dan, do you want to mention?
Yeah, we currently have our own floor scrubber today, right on one at the sweeper and scrubber. We've had for quite a few years. It's starting to get expensive. Had a lot of breakdowns on it. He had getting an engine put in a few years ago, and obviously we created a lot more space. We got scrubbed, so we had the federal funding available to purchase a new one. We'll probably keep the old one until it gets to the point where it doesn't make any sense to pour more money into it. But So, Tia and myself got some bids, got two bids on the exact same machine. You can see the factory cleaning equipment was $99,535 and tenant company was $95,374.89. Again, the federal money, no local funds, and, we're requesting that, the board approve awarding purchase order to tenant in the amount of $95,374.89 for the work.
Motion to move for the purchase order to tenant company in the amount of $95,374.89 for the purchase of the scrubber.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep in mind, the floor scrubber is, just- you can visualize this, it's like a Zamboni. Right, that's what the maintenance scrubber does and cleans the floor.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like, buying a Zamboni.
Is it similar to like the one that on the streets?
A small version of that.
Oh, small.
But similar, yeah, yeah.
You get tricked out or?
Not like the ice house example.
Not like that.
People ask me about a floor mat, it's basically like Zamboni, but it's for
Yeah.
concrete, yeah. Anyways, so thank you for that, that concludes items under other business, we do have executive session, if there's no other matters, then we can move to that.
We will look at our next board meeting for August 24th.
Thank you.
I'm good.
You good?
Good. And we can go into executive session to discuss collective bargaining matters pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C2 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act.
Do I have a motion to do that?
Please do.
A motion to move into executive session?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion to exit of, executive session?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
And then a motion to adjourn this monthly meeting?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.